I'm back in my home turf this morning, down at a place called Bantham Beach, a place I've been to many times before, but I thought I'd come down this morning. It's a beautiful morning, absolutely gorgeous, the sky's looking really nice, sun's just coming up, and I'm down here with my film camera, my 6x17 film camera, and I'm going to shoot some old fencing and dunes. That's the plan this morning. So this is my main composition this morning. I've got this lovely old rickety fencing with a sandy pathway going through the dunes here, and you can see it leads off in this kind of S shape, and I'm going to plan on shooting this in panoramic. I've never shot in panoramic before. I've shot here quite a few times, but never in panoramic. So the idea is to get a nice sweeping view from left to right and the path running through the shot. So it's going to be a little while before the sun breaks the top of this dune on my right hand side. It's just starting to light the top there, so I've got plenty of time to set up. So I'm hoping to shoot this as my main scene, and I'm shooting black and white this morning. Got an Ilford Delta 100. Going to use probably a weakish grad on the sky just to hold in the sky detail. Some lovely cloud formations above us at the moment. So that's the plan this morning. I'm just going to wait for the sun, get the camera set up and wait for the sun to break through a little bit. Just want some light on this fence line here, so it gives me plenty of time to compose the shot. Like I say, I've been shooting here for years, and many times I've shot this viewpoint, but I've never shot it in panoramic. So now is the time. I always like to give this lens a little test before I get going for real, just to make sure the shutter's okay. Make sure everything's working. Right, I'm going to compose this shot now. So I'm hoping to get a nice sweeping view. The light's creeping over quite quickly. We're still in August at the moment, so the light's moving pretty fast. So I'm guessing I'm probably going to be shooting at around f32, if not f45, depends how close I need to get to this fence line. But yeah, let's get this composed and set up, and I can start taking some meter readings then. Okay, so I've got a nice thin slither of sky at the top, and I'm running from this left post, almost like a diagonal, slight diagonal to the run of fence line here, so it gives that nice sweeping effect. So yeah, that's all composed, focused. Now I just need to work out some exposure readings. The light's just starting to hit this fence line here, so yeah, it's looking good. So I'm taking a couple of meter readings off some mid-tones here, and it's basically given me the same readings, which is pretty good. So I'm getting a half a second base reading at f45, and that's at ISO 100, the native film speed of Ilford Delta 100. So that's my base reading. I'm not going to use a polarizer. I'll probably just use a grad just over that thin slither of sky, and I'll let the film do the rest. I'm toying whether or not to use a red filter, but we shall see. I don't think I need it. I don't want it to be too harsh. Okay, that's my first frame at half a second. I'm also going to do one slightly under, just to bring out a little bit more contrast in this fence line. The sun's come through a bit stronger now as well, so I'm going to have to re-meter again just to double check my exposures. Yeah, it's changed. It's only changed by about a stop. With this camera, and especially with Ilford film, the numbers on the backing paper are quite faint. So when you're winding the film on, sometimes in strong sunlight, I have to use my loupe to try and see the number through the little film window, which is a bit of a pain. I was hoping for a little bit more drama in the sky, but overall I'm pretty pleased with this shot. Compositionally it works, and I was glad that I waited for the sunlight to come out to light these fence posts up. So contrast is good, and overall pretty happy. So that's my first roll done. I always like to load and unload the film in subdued light, just in case. Okay, that's the first roll done. Also, before I move on, I also like to swap when you unload the film, you get a little reel left over. Swap it back to the other side so it's basically ready for the next film to be loaded. Now I'm not going to load another film until I've checked out my second composition. And in terms of my second composition, I'm running blinds now because originally there used to be a fence line running up in the dunes on my right hand side, and for some reason they've taken that down and not replaced it, so that was going to be my main composition. But I say I haven't been here for a while, so I didn't realise that had gone. But I quite like this one that I've just taken, so I'm pretty pleased. But now I'm going to have to try and find a second composition, which I've got a good idea, I think, of where to go. So let's see if we can find something. So I found my second composition, which is a little bit different for me. It's a straight on shot of the fence line, but it's cropped out, no sky or landscape involved, just the fence line itself. I've set the camera up, had a look on the ground glass, and it's looking pretty nice. The only thing I've got to be careful of is my shadow. So when I take the shot, I'm going to have to be careful not to include that. So I'm going to have a look through and get focus done. But I'll spin you around a minute and just show you what I'm shooting. So here we go. We've just got this fence line. Again, another lovely rickety fence line amongst the dunes. Now I'm going to be using quite a long exposure with a red filter. Now you can see the wind blowing these grasses. So what I'm hoping is I'm going to get a nice little bit of movement around there. I've got a little bit of this sand at the top of the frame, and then the bank of dune over to the right hand side as well, but very, very tightly cropped. So I think this should work. So I've taken a base reading off the grasses in the foreground. That's given me a base reading of 1/4 of a second at f/45. Stopped under f/45 again because I need that focus, especially on these first posts here. So with the red filter, extra 2 stops, so that brings me down to a second exposure. Now 1 second is going to be long enough, I think, to create a little bit of blur in the grass. I might try 2 seconds as well, just to give it a little bit more movement. So when this sun bursts through, I'm going to have to duck when I take the exposure, so otherwise I'm going to get my shadow in part of the frame here. Things we do for a photograph. If anybody could see me now, I think, what on earth is he doing? Right, ready for my final frame now. I'm just waiting for the light to come through a little bit more on this first part. So yeah, it's been a good morning this morning. So while I'm here, did a little poll recently on YouTube asking what sort of content you prefer, and film photography came way at the top of the poll. So I'm guessing that's what you liked more than the digital stuff. I probably will keep shooting digital stuff, but I think going forward I'll probably shoot a lot more film. I'm hoping to add 6x6 format to my arsenal soon. I'll talk more about that in a later video, but there is a possibility of adding that soon. Also, when you watch this, I'll probably be in France. I'm going over there for a week with my son, over to the south of France, a place called Béziers, and we're going to be shooting there for a couple of days, and I'm going to take the film camera. So I'm fingers crossed the film doesn't get fogged. I've heard horror stories about films getting fogged, so I'm hoping it'll be safe. So the next video after this one will hopefully be from there. So I hope you can join me for those. Please click the subscribe button if you're not subscribed, and also the notification bell. That'll let you know when the new videos are being posted. And again, a big thank you for everybody that gets involved and comments, and all my subscribers so far. It's been great. I'm really enjoying this, and I'm hoping to do a lot more. Okay, final frame. Now for this final one, I've added a polarizer as well, because I want to create a bit more movement in this shot. So with the polarizer and the red filter, I'm actually adding another 4 stops. So my base reading was 1/4 of a second. It's 1/4, half, 1, 2 and 4 seconds basically. Okay, so let's see if that's worked. This was a surprise shot of the morning, and to be honest, it's my favourite of the 2 that I took. Just something a little bit different for me. I love the way that the fence sweeps into the shot, and also the movement created by using the combination of the red filter and the polarizer. Quite pleased with this. And I can hardly stand. Your voice is so. That was a great morning. I nearly didn't make it this morning. The alarm went off and nearly missed it, so I'm glad I got down. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this one, and like I say, please join me on the next one, where hopefully I'll be in France. But for now, I'm going to end the video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Make all things new. You